Hello and welcome to Being Becca Live. It is I, Becca Lori Hector, here. Yes, I have just completed Unit 2 of Self-Defined Living, so the fall cohort is well on their way to creating a life that they don't need a vacation from. How cool is that? So I just finished Unit 2. My voice may be a little hoarse and off. Excuse me, because I was just talking for an hour and a half. But nonetheless, let us get into Being Back Alive, which is where we talk about the challenges of being an autistic adult right now and not when research catches up. Hey, Burnett, welcome. Thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate it as always. And I am sort of on the fence for a topic right now. I've been thinking about a bunch of different things. Of course, I just got back from being away. So first, let me apologize for gratitude this Sunday. I had every intention of doing gratitude. I don't know why, though. Why would I choose to do that? I have no idea. I should have said to myself, you won't have the spoons, Becca. You will have just traveled. You're going to be in New York. Not only that, but you got to remember the math of the time zones and all of this stuff. And then I got to try and find a quiet place to sit down and record it. And I have to have my laptop and blah, 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 blah. I'm an idiot. I should have known better. And I should have canceled gratitude. So I'm sorry if you sat there and I wasn't there. I apologize. Gratitude will, of course, be back this Sunday now that I'm home and don't intend to go anywhere anytime soon. So apologies for that. And we will talk on gratitude more about, I think, the trip and the travel and things and how that went. But today, I think I want to talk about something else. And so, hey, Joe, hey, Bill, hi, Vivian, welcome, you guys. Thank you for joining me and taking the spoons in time. Hello, Writerly, how are you? I love seeing you guys there, and I love knowing that you're participating in chat and watching along with me. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about today, because I realized as I was teaching, as I was teaching Unit 2, there were some things that I was saying. Sorry, I just got lost in my own head. If that happens, you guys, by the way, I noticed that some people, when they, if they do mental health YouTube videos and stuff, they put little things on their videos, but I do a live stream, so I can't put little things. But when that happens to me, I feel like that's like a mini dissociation. Like I'm thinking about something and I forget almost that I'm doing this too. So what I was thinking about was a couple of different things that came up in Unit 2. One of which, it may be a t-shirt, I think. The power is in your responses, right? And the power is in the present. That was the other one I said, right? So I like that idea that the power is in the present and the power is in your responses, right? It's never in the setup. It's all in how we kind of choose to respond to things, right? When we decide to put energy into something, when we walk away, all of those things. Hey, Bernard, thanks for making it. I appreciate it. And that kind of thing. And that the power is in the present, because that is when those decisions get made. All of the decisions that will impact the future get made in the present, and all of the lessons that you should have learned from mistakes past, right, get put into play in the present. So that's where all the power is. Power is in the present, right? And it's in your responses, not in trying to take control of things we can't have control of. So those were some bigger thoughts today that I was having as I was working on kind of Unit 2 there. But the thing that I wanted to really focus on is the thing that I ask the most of my students. And it's something that I feel like autistics get and can accomplish. And it's something that I feel like neurotypicals struggle with. Is that crazy? So here's the thing that it is. It's called commitment. I thought about it because I was like, wow, I'm wearing my Committed to Thriving shirt. If you like it, please head over to the Redbubble store. That is where it is. I made it because I am committed to thriving. I am committed to making my life a thriving life and not one that is survival. And what I thought about is this idea of committed, this idea of being committed. It suits me as an autistic person. I'm comfortable in commitment. I'm comfortable when I have a secure place to come from. I am more committed than anybody else that I know, right? And the other special thing that I ask of my students when I'm teaching is that they stay consistent with their commitment, right? Because consistency is another thing that autistics are way good at, that neurotypicals struggle with. And being committed to the consistency, like being consistent and being committed, right? Those two things, they are strengths of autistic people. And they are, in fact, the key to the whole concept of self-defined living. If we are not committed to ourselves, if we are not consistent in our actions to be committed to ourselves, right? And to stay in alignment and all of those things, right? None of the stuff we're setting up for ourselves will work out if we're not committed to making ourselves a priority, right? And when I say that to autistic people, it rings true in a way that I don't see it understood by neurotypicals. When we commit ourselves to something, man, we are like an octopus with our tentacles suctioned around something, right? If we are loyal to something, again, octopus suction, right? If we have made that choice to be committed to a thing, a person, an action, an activity, right? And we have not been, our trust has not been betrayed, our goals have not been betrayed, our behavior has not, we have not betrayed ourselves, all of those things, right? If we're doing that stuff and we are committed and consistent in our behavior, we can change almost anything, right? But what I notice is that neurotypicals don't find it so easy to stay committed and consistent in their behavior. And the way that we love a routine and they think it's so boring is the same way that we find commitment and consistency reassuring, and they find it boring, unnecessary. I don't know what the adjective is. But I think we need to start to glean onto that piece. We need to understand that as like in our core structure as human beings, we are loyal and dedicated and committed and consistent, right? And if you ask us to do something a certain way and you show us how to do it and we do it that way, and you're like, yes, I want it done like that every single time, you can be sure that that autistic person will do their best to make sure it is identical. I have to do that every time because it makes me think of a certain movie that if you know, I would be very excited. But we will do it identically every single time to the best of our ability, right? In the consistent, committed way. When you ask that of neurotypicals, yeah, it's kind of maybe the first two that they do are in that committed, consistent way, right? It's not, there's not a desire, an understanding or an appreciation. That's the word. There's no appreciation for commitment and consistency, right? That comes from neurotypicals, whereas we have it in spades as autistics. And it's about time we start using it to our advantage. And I gave this example. When you think about autistics being consistent and committed to something, you can set them in front of a mountain and say, you need to climb this mountain. I don't care how fast you go. I don't care how long it takes you. Your whole goal is to get to the top. That's it. I just need you to get to the top, right? You say that same thing to a neurotypical placed under the same mountain, and everybody takes it a different way. Most neurotypicals will still, even though the competition isn't about time, will try to rush up that mountain. And then they run, and then they run out of energy and they have to stop and let it catch up. And then they run again, and then they have to stop and catch up. Whereas when you pose that same idea to a neurotypical standing in the mountain, we just say, okay, I have to make it to the top. Time is an important, consistency and commitment. I just need to stay committed to getting to the top and consistently be in motion, and I'll get there, right? And that's how we go, consistently marching up the mountain, right? Sometimes we beat them, sometimes we don't, but I do know that without a doubt, we get to the top of the mountain, and sometimes they don't. So here's what I want us to be thinking about. I want us to be thinking about what that means in terms of chasing happiness and success, in terms of being the person you want to be, in terms of building a life that you want to like, right? When you stay committed and consistent to those ideas, you're going to get there. And maybe you didn't, go and get a loan from a bank so you could buy the house right now and instead chose to save up until you could afford a down payment. But it doesn't matter, right? I'm not going to rush to the loan if I don't have a time limit? Why do that? Right? It's illogical. And so our brains go through this very logical, paced, committed place where our loyalty shines and our dedication shines, right? And when that mountain is our own life, right? If we just stay committed and consistent to reaching the end of it with as much happiness, as much productivity, as much success, as much joy as possible, we just need to slow roll it. Just consistently do it, can stay committed over the course of time, and we will get that. There is no quick fix. There is no way to get it any other way. The other part is enjoying the process, right? Learning that when you make better decisions, things play out better, and enjoying those successes, right? We got to do that for ourselves because it's what keeps us motivated, headed up the mountain. So here's what I want us to think about. I ask my students to be committed to what we're doing, and I ask them to be consistent in their dedication, right, to this course. And I will tell you that if you do that, these things work out for you. The course works. And when people aren't committed and consistent, right, it doesn't work. And what I find is that because we are better at being committed and consistent, if I can just get through to you guys that you are as important as people you are trying to keep comfortable. Let me say that again. You are as important as the people you are trying to keep comfortable. And when I can get that through to you, and that the commitment to self and the consistency to self is as strong as it is to other people and things and thoughts and special interests, right? You can achieve just about anything you set forward for yourself if you remain honest and realistic with yourself, right? Another thing autistics are good at, kind of, and neurotypicals not. We tend to see ourselves in mostly negative light, but we're at least honest about what we're good at and not. We don't have a lack of hubris about it. And so I want us to understand that all of these naturally existing components to the autistic brain are the things that we need to be hanging on to and making use of. And this ability to be committed and consistent to an idea, to a thought, to a process, to a goal, because when it sits right with us, we will give it everything that we have. And so it's about getting you guys to see it for what it is in that logical place of like, I'm just as important as the people I'm trying to make comfortable. When I do that and you create that commitment to self in the same way that you committed to making everyone else comfortable, you can only imagine the things that I see, the growth and the change and who we become. We become our true authentic selves. And an authentic autistic person is a pretty amazing thing to see, to be around, to experience as yourself. And so in kind of trying to get other people to see that, I realized that we just have this innate skill set in terms of our commitment and our consistency. And I want us to learn to build off of that. That's a strength. And we don't give ourselves credit for it. And if we would give ourselves credit for it some of the time, right, we would make leaps and bounds in our own lives. And so we need to begin there. We need to understand in a very honest way that we do have strengths and we do have skill sets that are not available to people with a different brain than ours, right? And there has to just be an acknowledgement of those things, right? And when you do that, you can then make that commitment to self. You can then be consistent with your commitment to self, right? So that's where I'm at with the Unit 2 folks. And what I'd like to know, because some of you watching have not taken any of the courses and any of the seminars. Some of you have taken seminars, but not the course. And some of you have done both. And what I want to know is, do you see your commitment and consistency as a strength? And do you think that that commitment and consistency to strength is what keeps you continuing the lessons that you went through in some of the seminars and some of the self-defined living course? And if you haven't taken any of those things, right, do you struggle with understanding that your commitment and your consistency, that loyalty and dedication piece is actually a strength, right? I want to know how you guys sit and see and think about commitment and consistency. I want to know if you think, like I do, that it's a talent that autistics have, that it's not something that comes easily to neurotypical. I got to know, you guys, like what's going on out there with you guys and kind of the idea of commitment and consistency. Because I think it's something that we have innately and something that I choose to build upon. And I want to know if I'm on the right track. So I guess that's what I'm really asking from you guys today, is to think a little bit about commitment and consistency and to ask yourself, is that something that's innately present in your life? And if so, have I used it as a strength ever? Do I think of it that way? And do I make use of it in terms of achieving my own personal goals? Right? Because that's what I've been thinking about. And I feel like I have a writing piece coming up out of this whole concept, but I always need to know if it's just me or if it's you guys too and what you think and all of that. And so that's what I'm asking you today. As my voice is about to disappear entirely, so I'm probably going to have to end shortly. Think about those two words. Think about commitment. Think about consistency. Where is it in your life? Do you have it in excess? And is that a strength? Right? You are writing about this, Bernard, then I won't, because I would love to see what you write about this. I think this is a fantastic topic. I am way interested in it. And so, you actually think it's a skill, but I'm not consistent. I am so critical to myself. Well, A, you know better than that, Joe, because we shouldn't be doing negative self-talk, right? And so if you're not consistent, what does consistency mean to you? How are you defining consistent? Are you showing up for yourself on a regular basis? And regular doesn't have to mean every day, right? When we do things over the long term, and we look at it in terms of years, are you showing up for yourself on a monthly basis? That's consistent, right? It does not have to be done every day and multiple times a day for you to consider it consistent. So think about that piece too. And what is with this self-critical stuff, right? It's like you got to take the course all over again, Joe. Maybe re-listen to the recordings, right? We know that self-criticism comes from us worrying about the judgment of others. And if we eliminate some of this stuff from our space, right, we can stop being so critical of ourselves, right? The critical nature of ourselves is not something we do just to ourselves. We point it outwards too. So figure out where that is happening for you, Joe. What's it about? Bernard said I should write about it too. Maybe I will. Maybe I will be so inclined. But let's see. We'll figure it out. Let's see. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about. That's where I'm at. And that's what I want to know from you guys. I want to know if you recognize these parts of yourself. And if, like Joe, you think you don't see these things in yourself, why? What do the words really mean to you? Where is that coming from? What does commitment mean to you? Are you putting rules around it that don't really exist? Let's think about all of those things. And with that, I'm going to give you a quick reminder that in 7 days, yes, 1 exact week from today, Time and Spoon Management will be out. It is the live seminar for October. Registration is open right now. If you head to my website and you go to the Self-Defined Living Seminar Series tab and scroll down to the bottom, you will find October's Time and Spoon Management. You can go ahead and register from there. I would love to see you guys there. What else? That's about all I've got going on. The recordings of the Self-Defined Living course won't be up for another month until we finish doing it live. And then, of course, the live version will be back in the springtime, probably sometime around February, March. So if that's something that you're interested in, taking the course live with me, the wait list is now open for that. So if you'd like to get on the wait list and be guaranteed a seat for the spring cohort, please email me at info@beccalaurie.com. And while you are over on my website at beccalaurie.com, you can also use the contact page, which comes directly to me. And while you're there, you can check out my social media, my writing. You can check out some of my resources, as well as my Ko-Fi store and the Redbubble store, where you too can commit yourself to thriving. And a couple of other shirts that I've got up there, like Perfectly Imperfect, and other things like being comfortable, being uncomfortable. I've got them all. So go head over there to that and tout your self-defined living love. I would love to see you guys out in the real world wearing one of my t-shirts. That might be the coolest thing that ever happens to me. So anyway, please head over to my website, enjoy the fruits of my labor, and I will see you guys on Sunday For the next growing gratitude, wait, Bill has said something. I believe consistency and commitment do come easier to our nature, and adherence to them yields success and happiness, as long as I don't let inertia challenges win the day. Yes, Bill, right? Because on those days when you think inertia is going to win, your challenge is to do something, right? Whether it's take a shower, do a laundry, blah, blah, blah. You don't have to be actively working towards your goals every day to make them happen. Some days are for rest, and that's cool, but don't let it turn into inertia, right? So I love that, right? But it's like this natural ability that we have, and why aren't we making more use of it? Absurdity, you guys, absurd. Anyway, I will be back here on Sunday with the next Growing Gratitude, and I promise. And of course, I'll be back next Wednesday with the next Being Becca Live. Until then, get out there and register for time and spoon management, and get out there and create some joy, share joy, all the joys. What did I seek joy, share joy, create joy, all the joys. And I will see you out and about on the interwebs. Feel free to get in touch with me or comment wherever you're seeing this video. I truly appreciate your commentary, as well as your thumbs up, which let me know that the content I'm doing is still interesting. Of course, your shares can't be replaced, nor can your subscriptions, so I would appreciate those as well. Have an amazing day out in the world, you guys, and I will see you here on Sunday. Bye.